Hello everyone, this is section 1.1 definitions of statistics, probability, and key terms. The objective for this lesson is to recognize and differentiate between key terms. These key terms include population versus sample, parameters versus statistics, variable, data, categorical versus quantitative variable, and discrete versus continuous variables. Here are some key terms. First, we have population. Population is the entire group to be studied. Let's say we want to know something about all men at a banquet. The population of interest would be all men at a banquet. Here we have n equals 45. We use n to represent the population size, which in this case is 45. Now, sometimes we may not have enough time or resources to survey all the men at the banquet, so we decided to take out a sample. A sample is a subset of the population that is being studied. For example, 12 men in the banquet. We decided to just survey 12 men from the banquet. So those 12 men are pooled from the population. Notice that we use lowercase n to represent the sample size versus capital N to represent the population size. Next, we have parameter. A parameter is a numerical summary of a characteristic of a population. For example, we use mu, which is this symbol, equal 5.75 feet. That means the average height of all men at the banquet is 5.75 feet. We use p equals 0.35. P represents the proportion of all men at the banquet who voted yes. Note that if the information does not indicate it is based on a sample, assume that it represents the population. Statistic, a numerical summary of a sample. We use the X with the bar on top to represent average, which is also considered the mean. X bar equals 5.8 feet. That means the men's average height from the sample is 5.8 feet. We use P hat versus just P. P hat represents the sample proportion. In this case, P hat equals 5/12, the proportion of the sample who voted yes. Here is an example. We want to know the average mean amount of money first-year college students spent at ABC College on school supplies that do not include books. We randomly surveyed 100 first-year students at the college. 3 of those students spent $150, $200, and $225 respectively. Population. Remember that population is the entire group to be studied. Example, all first-year college students at ABC College is in this term, so that would be the population. Parameter is a numerical summary of a population. So in this case, the average mean amount of money spent excluding books by first-year college students at ABC College in this term will be the parameter. Sample, subset of the population that is being studied. So right now, if we look at the example, notice that we surveyed 100 first-year students at the college. So that 100 first-year students at the college would be the sample. Statistic is a numerical summary of the sample. So the average amount spent by the first-year students in the sample would be the statistic. Variable. A variable is a characteristic or measurement of interest for each subject in a population. Capital X, X is the amount of money spent excluding books by one first-year student attending ABC College. Data. Data is a numerical summary of a sample. For example, dollar amount spent by the first-year students. Example of data are $150, $200, and $225. Example 2. An insurance company would like to determine the proportion of all medical doctors who have been involved in one or more malpractice lawsuits. The company selects 500 doctors at random from a professional directory and determines the number in the sample who have been involved in a malpractice lawsuit. The proportion of medical doctors who have been involved in one or more malpractice lawsuits. Note that the information does not indicate it is based on a sample, so this proportion is a parameter. The proportion of medical doctors who have been involved in one or more malpractice lawsuits in the sample. So since this proportion is from the sample, it's called a statistic. Either yes was involved in one or more malpractice lawsuits or no was not. So yes or no, these are data. All medical doctors listed in the professional directory. So since this is all medical doctors, this is considered a population. The 500 doctors selected at random from the professional directory. So the 500 doctors selected is a sample. X, whether an individual doctor has been involved in a malpractice lawsuit. That is considered a variable.